Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Reese number 807A. This is a piece of head and jam weather stripping is where you're going to see this. And the 807 is representative of the profile of the item, what the item is. It's a piece of aluminum with an insert. Now the A in the part number means that the aluminum holder is going to be in the mill aluminum finish. The options in that regard are going to be C for clear, A for mill, C for clear anodized, D for dark bronze, and G for gold. That's all anodized over this aluminum base material. The insert of this is typical vinyl, by far the most common weather strip insert that you're going to get. And this material is incredibly typical, incredibly common that you're going to see installed at the jambs and the header of hollow metal doors. You'll very often see that. Sometimes we supply it to people in residential applications because it's just applied weather stripping. It applies to the soffit of the stop and makes contact with the door face when the door closes. Occasionally you'll see the material is installed as an astragal, but it's not appropriate really for an astragal. And very often when you see it installed as an astragal, the seal's ripped out because it's not really meant for two pieces to make contact in this fashion. Just when it's perpendicular to the face of the materials, really when you're going to see that. Okay. Now, there is an image down below this video that will allow you to see the dimensional properties, or at least what they publish. Let's take a look at that. You've got 7/8 worth of aluminum, and you get down to about 1 1/8 total projection. The thickness of the material is going to be about 5/16. Okay, and again, very typical, very common. Regarding other pieces of weather stripping, there's a link below this video to a document called Product Brochure where you can review the other common Reese weather strips all on a single page. And absolutely the 807 is the garden variety material. If you are an installer of hollow metal doors and you're supplying doors and hardware, an 807 would be your go-to for common builder's quality weather stripping. Suffice it to say, Reese is really, in my opinion, not a company that I think of or that or anyone should think of when it comes to builder's quality. You're going to be using Reese when you're looking for higher performance material because they showcase so much of it. What I mean is, I would probably opt for a thicker piece of aluminum that's quite thin, and I can make that flex. Okay, when I pre-drill these holes and secure it, I could get a very imperceptible amount of bellying between these two screw points, and because of the design, because cost is what's most important with this item, some water coming down the backside, I might opt for a thicker piece of aluminum. I would certainly opt for a higher caliber insert such as polyurethane or a silicone that Reese can provide you. The polyurethane and the higher grade inserts are not going to be something that will fatigue or fail with exposure to ultraviolet. A thicker piece of aluminum is obvious. They can do concealed fasteners, etc. But again, 9 out of 10 times you're dealing with something like the 807A. So that link to the product catalog will allow you to see the other common vinyl weather strip items. Pile is also on there as well if you wanted a piece of very soft hair type material, which would be common on aluminum storefront, even though that material is generally not surface applied. Okay, there is also the 807. It's listed in the site in lots of different lengths, everything from 2 foot to 8 foot. We don't list anything longer than 8 foot because the cost to ship is generally prohibitive. If you needed one piece at 11 foot, it would make the cost of the hardware look insignificant. But if you needed 50 10-foot pieces, it's not really a big deal. It has to go common carrier when it goes longer than 8 foot, so keep that in mind. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and simply indicate in the comment field the length that you'd like for us to cut the material back to. Now the reasoning is this. If you had to take this 42-inch piece and cut it back to 40-inch, if you had a 3-foot 4-door, you're going to eliminate that first slotted hole. And those slotted holes are incredibly handy to have because they allow you to compensate for a misdrilled hole when you're pre-drilling the holes for the screws. And speaking of screws, they're included in a complementary finish. That drill bit has a tendency to walk a little bit before it pierces in, regardless of what you're drilling into, whether it be aluminum or steel, fiberglass, bronze, brass, stainless, etc. So that slotted hole helps compensate for a misdrilled hole as well in the installation process. So it's very handy to have that. And the point being is if you were to order a custom length, will not only locate the first slotted hole at the proper distance from the edge, but the proper center to center as well. Now, not only a misdrilled hole, because the drill bit will walk a little bit, but when it comes to weather stripping and making proper contact with the face of the door, it really needs to be tailored correctly, because a lot of things can intrude onto a healthy installation, like imagine if the jamb is not perfectly plumb, or maybe one of the jamb legs are kicked out a little bit, or it's towed in and out a little bit, or maybe your door has some warp to it. The ability to push or to pull that weather stripping ever so slightly can be the difference between a proper seal, where you have a seal, and one that you don't have a seal at all, or that you are compressing the weather strip far too much, preventing your hardware, like a door closer, from working correctly to get the door closed, or a lock set preventing you from getting the door into the pulled and latched position. And if it's a fire-rated door, you'll certainly need to maintain the ability of the door to not only self-close, but also self-latch. So that's why they put slotted holes there, and they're handy to have, and if you ordered a custom length, we'll give you the slotted holes accordingly. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page, where you can review not only all of the Reese products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I'm a fan of Reese, and it's because of their exceptional quality, their focus on exceptional customer service, industry, likely the fastest lead times when it comes to shipping in the industry for a manufacturer of weather stripping. And granted, they have a minimum order like every manufacturer does, so you'll need to hit that minimum order if you need something to ship very quickly. Otherwise, we'll just add it to our stock order for you. And one tip that I always use Reese for, whenever I'm doing dark bronze hardware, oil rubbed bronze hardware, I will always go to Reese, because I like their oil rubbed or their dark bronze finish over aluminum better than any other manufacturers, because it's a color that is not too dark like black, and it's actually much more faithful to what an oil rubbed bronze finish looks like. If I'm doing a job where I want the weather stripping to look as nice as the $5,000 of exit devices on a pair of doors, Reese would be the company that I would go to exclusively for that. If you have any questions on the 807A, jam, perimeter gasketing, weather stripping, or any other Reese product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.